Hey, good morning guys. Denzel from Castle Wash here. Made kind of a boo-boo. I was laying down some good truth for you guys, some good facts about setting customer expectations, and the GoPro turns off because it wasn't recording. So sorry about that. Hopefully I'm still able to convey that passion and that fire to you. But yeah, so I was talking about a job I had yesterday, and my big three services are roof cleaning, house washing, and driveways. Cleaning driveways. That's really it. I don't do paver sanding or resealing. I don't really get into gutters that much. I don't get into gutter restoration. I don't do wood. I will soft wash a wood deck, but I'm not going out there and laying down sodium hypocarbonate or whatever it is and scrubbing the skin off wood. I don't do that. I'm sticking to the big three, and it's proven to me that is the fruit that I can digest and get done quickly so I can go home. All right, so again, setting customer expectations. It's incredibly important that you do that early, either at the first phone call, at the first meeting, and then again before you start that job. Sometimes you even have to keep doing it during the job, because people just don't listen, or they might have new questions, but you are always trying to tell them exactly what they're going to get, exactly what you can give. Okay? There's no shame in that. It's called honesty, and it's called setting appropriate expectations. Now, let's go over bit by bit. I'm gonna go over the driveway cleaning I did yesterday, and I'm gonna go over the house wash. So let's start with the driveway cleaning. This driveway was about 10 years old, roughly, as are most in my neighborhood. And it's not new concrete by any means. There are some spots where someone else pressure washed it years ago, but for the most part, the driveway has been well maintained. There were zero cracks, no holes or anything like that, and the concrete had taken on that bright yellow cream color we all love, because when the sun hits that in the middle of the day, it is super bright. You put some water on it, it'll get that slight yellow tint, but other than that, it was beautiful concrete, and I was not going to be responsible for hurting that concrete. So I advised the customer, I said, hey, your concrete isn't that dirty. I could probably just soft wash it for you. It'll pull that dirt up and kill that algae over there, and then I can rinse it off. And after about 3 minutes back and forth trying to convey just how effective soft washing is, they basically said, well, I'll leave it up to you as long as it's clean. I don't really mind. And I said, fantastic. I said, no matter which way I do, it should last you about a year. And that was great for them. They were like, oh good, then I don't care. Is the price the same? I said, yes ma'am. All right, cool. Let me know when you're done. So normally if I was gonna just pressure wash concrete, I'd lay down about a 1.5%, lay it down again, then I would let it dry as much as possible, then I would start surface cleaning. My surface cleaner, it's a 36-inch, you guys have seen it, from my machine at about half throttle. It's getting about 2,600 psi at the hose. Now what I will do is, you take that 2,600 psi, right, at full flow, you cut that in half. That brings you down to 1,300. That's per nozzle. Now that is with oversized nozzles, because it's tipped out for a 12. So that puts me in the perfect situation to not hurt this concrete. But I said that's still, I thought it would not hurt the concrete, but I wanted to be absolutely sure. So yes, with that PSI, I could probably go a little bit faster, but I dialed it down even further to about quarter throttle. Now I'm pushing less GPM and less pressure, and that brought it down to about 1,500 total. That makes it 750 per nozzle, and I was like, I'm gonna try that. And I did. And guys, it worked out fantastic. had to walk a little bit slower, but still, I'm cleaning 3 feet across at one time. And I'm like doing the Cupid shuffle while I'm doing it. It worked out great. So I'm letting you guys know, pressure is not always the answer. Sometimes, very rarely it is. As I said with my big old turbo nozzle for the 10 gallon a minute, sometimes you need that. But most of the time, if you think you do, you don't. So I did that, and again, the expectation I set for myself was I am not gonna scar this concrete, and I didn't. I found a way around it. I know my equipment, and the more you play with stuff like that, the better understanding and better feel you'll get for that kind of stuff. So from that story, I just want you to go out and get you a inline pressure gauge. That will tell you, it'll dispel all the myths. It will let you know exactly what you're running with each individual piece of equipment, right? Because it will be different. So that's enough said for that. Driveway looked fantastic. She came out, she said, wow, it looks like it was just poured, yada, yada, yada. People will usually say that. They'll say, wow, it looks like a brand new driveway. And I said, good, because that's what I want it to look like. I don't want it to look like a 10-year-old driveway. I want it to look like a 1-year-old driveway. And I always get into the habit of showing them the picture that you guys can find on my GMB of the concrete. It says, hi, I'm new, and then hi, I'm 10 years old. The one that says I'm a decade old has all the holes and stuff like that. Hers didn't. Hers didn't. So whoever was pressure washing it, they must have done a good job, or it just never got dirty. Probably that, right? Anyway, so let's go on to the house wash. Again, setting expectations. They had so many wasp nests, so many mud dauber nests, and you guys know about mud daubers. Mud daubers will get up on a ledge and they'll build that big dirty mound. And yeah, I could get up there with a wand and pressure wash it, but the thing is, the way those bugs make those nests, they're using their saliva and they're using dirt and stuff like that. Their saliva is acidic. The reason it bonds so well is because it etches itself and it burrows that nest into the paint, and it's a chemical bond. It's not just like, it's not like tacked on there with nails. It's chemically bonded to that paint. So you have to be really careful when you're trying to blast it off, because you'll rip a chunk of paint off. You don't know the integrity of that paint underneath it. And everything I'm saying right now, I told the customer, I said, hey, 9 times out of 10, the nest will come off, but there will be a shadow of where that nest used to be. I don't get up there and scrub it. I'm not gonna pressure wash it to try to make it clean, because more likely than not, you're gonna remove some paint and it'll look worse. Gee whiz. Man, people just up my ass. So yeah, I'm going around the house. There's so many of them, and they all came off. But they still have those little attachment points where if you run your finger on it, it feels like paint. It doesn't even feel like anything's there because it's chemically etched into that paint. So it needs to be repainted either way. But if you didn't tell your customer, like, hey, you're gonna have those little dime-sized attachment points all over your house, they'd be like, whoa, what'd you do? What's all this? Why not that? Especially if there's a language barrier, you're never gonna be able to explain that. If there's a language barrier, I'd probably recommend not taking the job anyway, because there will always be confusion. You're starting off with confusion. Anyway, I'm at work now, but yeah, that was the second level of, or the second instance of setting expectations for that job. And everything went well. They were very understanding. They're like, yeah, we get it, we get it. They had some already that I guess they removed, and you could still see that black mark. And I said, yeah, it looks like, I assumed they took it off, but what I said was, it looks like some of them have fallen off already, but you can still see that black mark. I'll spray those anyway, but more than likely that won't come out. And they said, no problem, we get it, yada, yada, yada. And it was fine. Just like that. The more you can communicate up front, and throughout the job, the less problems you'll have. So just really understand that. Think about when someone comes out to do work at your place. They say, hey, we're gonna be here all day. You're not gonna have any power, you're not gonna have water, and you keep telling them that over and over again, so that at 5 o'clock they're like, y'all ain't done yet. It's like, no, we're not. All day. Y'all been out here all day. It's like, exactly, like I told you we would be. That's kind of different, but yeah. Same as automotive. Any of you ever sold service? Someone comes in, it's running rough, you say, well, the first step is, I would recommend a tune-up. Your car has 140,000 miles on it. You don't ever remember doing a tune-up, so as far as we're both concerned, it's possibly way overdue. That's the cheapest, easiest thing for us to do. Let's do it. Then you do it, and if it clears up a little bit, say, hey, it's a lot better. Would you like to drive it and see if it's okay for you? Or if you'd like, we can move further with whatever. We can actually run diagnostics and do live data testing, blah, 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 blah. Tell you what, go get a full tank of gas, drive it around for a week, and see if it's better. Yeah. Don't promise it's gonna be perfect. It's like, oh man, we're gonna do that tune-up, it'll be a brand new car. Don't say that. Don't say that, ever. I caught myself starting to say that once, and shut up, don't say that, ever. Don't ever tell someone it's gonna be a brand new house when I'm done washing it. Don't say that. Don't even tell them your driveway is gonna look brand new. Even if they say it, you say, oh, thank you very much, that's my goal. But don't ever promise it from the beginning. You don't know what's gonna happen. Anyway, I hope you're listening, I hope you're enjoying it, and I hope it's helpful. I've ranted and raved about the whole Facebook groups and how it's just a bunch of guys who probably just need to take a step back and realize that they're getting into a business where you need exceptional people skills, and even at a slightly less important, you need to be able to figure things out, okay? Or if you make a lot of money, you can pay a full-time mechanic to take care of all your stuff. All right, you could literally pay a counselor to go around with you and be like, man, what you're gonna want to do is set that machine to half throttle, go ahead and check your pressure, open up those tips if you need to, and that'll get you there. And you can just pay a guy to stand there and tell you when you're doing something wrong. Otherwise, you're gonna have to figure it out like everybody else. Anyway, not to get too rambly, Castle Wash out.